Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for not paying fully for my ex's daughter's hospice care? I'm not trying to write a book here, so I'll keep this brief. My ex 5 years ago made my early 20s hell. He was all I knew in terms of relationships, and I thought a man was supposed to take and never give. He dumped me, and after using me as an FWB for a while, got a girlfriend. After, I told him never to contact me again. He blocked me on Facebook. That was in 2015. Today, my husband and I are a double income, no kids, for now, and he is in a prominent position at a Fortune 500 company. I am saying this because I have on my Facebook married to ex, and it states his position on his profile at a very well-known company, worldwide. I guess my ex saw this when he unblocked me at a time unknown. I found a message in my message requests. He just asked how I was. I cautiously replied back, and then he laid it on me. His daughter was in hospice care and is dying of cancer. She is only 3 years old. That made me tear up some. I have young nieces and nephews, and my heart would shatter if that happened. He asked me, since my husband has X position at X, if I could pay for the care as he is in severe debt, a lot of student loans. He was in grad school when we dated. I feel bad for his daughter, but I declined. How rude to contact me 5+ years later to ask me for something. As expected, he was livid. He sent me a voice memo yelling profanities at me, saying I am letting his daughter die in a cold, damp council flat. He is British, I am American. I know NHS pays for cancer care, I think, but end of life in a facility? Not sure. But my answer was still no. He said I was an a-hole as I am a loaded trophy wife and have no kids. Last thing he said was, he will be waiting for my actual response. Am I the a-hole? Husband doesn't think I am. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Also, it really sounds like a scam. Hospice care is typically free via NHS. Hospices are usually charitable, and one of the few things the NHS doesn't do, but free to the users. So this is a scam. There is no such thing as a private hospice in the UK. The most he will be out for is car parking at the hospital plus or minus not being able to work during. Even if it's not a scam, it is. You have no duty to pay for the problems of someone who hurt you. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If he is in the UK, he shouldn't have any debt related to his daughter's care. NHS would cover it. It sounds like he's trying to manipulate you. He may not even have a daughter. He does have a daughter. Some snooping showed me his partner, the girlfriend from 2015, has her as her profile pic, hooked up to wires and such. Not the a-hole. You don't owe your ex or his daughter, who is a virtual stranger to you, anything. Even if your ex didn't live in a country that had state-funded health care, which he does, you still wouldn't owe him or his daughter anything. Don't even respond to him. Block him and move on with your life. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for withdrawing college support from my stepdaughter? My wife and I have been together for 9 years. I have 2 biological children and 1 stepchild. My oldest is 24 and out on his own working on his master's, while my second is 20 and enjoying her college days several states away. My stepdaughter is 19 and attending another school a few hours away too. Before I agreed to pay for any of the kids' education, I was very upfront with everyone that there were conditions that were to be met/followed or payments would stop. There were no negotiations to be made, and if that were a problem, they could take out loans. The rules were/are, no Ds or drinking. No smoking. No getting pregnant or getting anyone pregnant. Register to vote and vote, I don't care who for, no legal problems, maintain 2.5 or better. All 3 of the kids agreed to these rules, and I have handled all of their expenses. My first graduated with no issue, and my daughter hasn't caused any hiccups either. However, the rules have seemed to be too much for stepdaughter. My wife sat me down earlier last week, and told me stepdaughter had been caught with alcohol in her room, and she was placed on academic probation at last semester's end for a low GPA. She had known for a while but kept it from me. I told her that it was fine, but no more. The support from me was done. My wife wanted to argue with me, and claimed I was playing favorites. However, I argued back because my children hadn't broken any rules, so there was no double standard or favoritism going on. Our tense household became tenser this past weekend when my daughter called me to let me know stepdaughter had called her asking for a small loan. The loan was for a termination. I confronted my wife about it, and asked if she felt this was also a secret, and if it was also me playing favorites. She knew about it as well and was pretty speechless about it. I don't know where this all went wrong. She never acted like this at home, but I know it's a lot of freedom to have when you're young. My wife doesn't want to send her the money because she's against termination, but I don't want a baby in the house. I'm too old for that now. Not sure how to solve that pickle. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. I can see this being asked a lot. My wife and I have a prenup in place. The house is mine, and we don't mingle finances. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I will get hate for saying this, but please let her get the termination. You will end up taking care of the baby and be paying for it too. I'm not against her getting it at all. Her mother is. Not the a-hole. Maybe pay for the procedure though. Make it clear that this is your last bit of support. And you need to talk to your wife, as she kept hiding stepdaughter behaviors. I feel like that's a bigger problem than a teenager breaking rules. In the long term, this will be better for both of you. And tell your wife in advance. Be better than her. Don't hide stuff from her. Have a talk with her about her behaviors. Not the a-hole. Also, how does your significant other expect the daughter to go to college with a baby? Thank you. I'm more concerned that you will wake up one day, and your wife will have the baby and demand to raise the kid for the next few years so stepdaughter can focus on school and starting a career. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not dropping my baby daddy's large child support back pay? My daughter's father and I had her at a young age, both 19. I ended the relationship when I found out I was pregnant, due to his temper. On her first birthday, we went to court and he had seen her twice in that entire year. He was ordered to pay child support and I was to give him visitation as laid out by the courts. He quickly quit his job to go work for his dad for cash, and claimed he couldn't afford the $600 a month. We agreed through the courts to lower it to $300 per month. I worked 2 jobs and lived with my parents on and off to support her. Fast forward to present day, throughout the past 9 years he paid when he felt like paying. I'm very non-confrontational, and honestly, arguing with him brings back bad memories, so I only asked him about it when I was struggling. Well, about a year ago, Child Support Office finally caught up with him, and with his inconsistency in paying, he was nearly $30,000 behind in child support. Now by this point, I've married and had 2 more children. He's engaged and has another child. Our custody order states he only gets her every other weekend, and certain holidays depending on the year. But when child support caught up to him, he started asking for more time with her. She loves her dad and I wanted to do what's best for her, so I agreed, without going to court, and they keep her until Wednesday, sometimes Thursday every other week. Now he's asking me to drop his back pay because he gets her nearly as much as I do. I hate to sound bitter, but when he wasn't paying all those years, I really struggled to keep up with bills. And every time he'd say he couldn't pay, I'd get on Facebook or Instagram, and he'd have bought a new vehicle or a gun or boat to hunt with. I don't want him to think he shouldn't be held responsible for all those years, as he wasn't as big a part of her life as he is now. Am I the a-hole for keeping him obligated to his debt he chose to accumulate by not paying regularly? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. This situation probably should have been brought up to the courts when he first started not paying. The best thing you should do now is go to court, so they can enforce the debt. Dude is lucky the debt ain't $60K, considering the monthly was cut in half to $300 from $600. Plus, he started working under the table to avoid payment. Bet he didn't pay taxes either. IRS might like to know that. Now it sounds like he only upped his time with her so he could have the grounds to make this request. No. He had an obligation that he fumbled, and you picked up the slack. He owes you that money. Not the a-hole. Stick to your guns. Agreed. OP should be prepared for him to drop daughter like a hot potato after this. If she pursues it, he'll sulk and stop seeing daughter, and if she folds, he's got what he wanted and doesn't need to see daughter anymore. This isn't about current child support, this is to cover for when he wasn't providing any care and wasn't paying. OP may feel she's doing financially okay, but she's probably not thinking about how much harder it will have been to get financially stable, the lost savings, college fund, pension etc., that weren't built because he was paying. Meanwhile he's had all that. Not the a-hole. Child support is obligation for raising his daughter. He dodged that responsibility and now it's caught him. There are plenty of things $30K can do. Like a college fund or a hobby, karate, playing an instrument, playing a sport etc. Make him start paying it and use it for something good for your daughter that he can see too. Might make the payments more regular that way. Regardless, he owes your daughter that money, not you. He needs to pay it all. I mean, I agree with the basic sentiment of your comment, but in no way should OP feel obligated to spend all that on something for her kid. I feel like she did without a lot for many years. Those $30K is the part OP already spent herself over the years to take care of her child. I am 100% sure OP won't just go nuts with that money and spend nothing on her child, but OP deserves a little spoiling herself after all she's sacrificed. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for saying my bio daughter's education is more important than my stepdaughter's education? Title is a doozy, but let me explain. So I, 36 female, have 2 bio kids and 1 stepdaughter. Note, I usually don't say step or bio kids, but it's important for this story. My bios are 14 and 17, and my step is 7. 14 and 17 have their own laptops for school, and it's particularly important to 17-year-old as she's in year 13 and has a lot of work to do. This morning, she came downstairs crying because her laptop shut off randomly and wouldn't turn back on. To make matters worse, she had coursework due. She had backed everything up, so I gave her my laptop, and within 10 minutes, she was back to working. The issue comes with 7-year-old and my husband, John, her father. 7-year-old is in primary school but is still given a small bit of work each week to be done, and the only way to access the work is on the computer. The school's website is super weird for phones. My husband and 7 usually do the work together, but today they couldn't because 17-year-old had my laptop. John came to me and asked where the laptop was. I explained what had happened and that 17-year-old had it. John got all annoyed and asked how 7-year-old was supposed to do her work. I said I'd dig up the old computer from the basement, but John did not like that idea. We ended up having a back and forth, and I snapped and said, honestly John, 17's education is more important than 7-year-old's right now. John got really upset and accused me of having a bias against the kids. I guess he told his family what I had said, because I got a few passive-aggressive texts from his mother and sister calling me a bad mother. Am I the a-hole? Edit, there seems to be some confusion on 7-year-old's education. She does not do online/live learning. All her work is on paper and in learning books provided by the school. The instructions to certain tasks are online, which is why John needed the laptop, but 7-year-old is not missing out on education by not having the laptop, as there are other tasks that were provided by her school that she can do. Her work also isn't time sensitive, they don't even have to hand it in. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You didn't say your bio daughter's education was more important period, you said it was more important now. And you are right. Your 17-year-old has different responsibilities and pressures than your 7-year-old daughter does. Your 7-year-old daughter is not prepping for college, nor taking important tests, nor even close to earning grades that could greatly impact her future. While I agree it is important to make time for your 7-year-old daughter to get her work done, your 17-year-old daughter's schooling should take precedent. Your husband sounds like he was trying to pick a fight, and both he and his family are ignorant to call you a bad parent over something like this. And why did the husband immediately take this to his family? Why did he feel the need to tattle to his mommy because his wife is being mean? Because she said no. For goodness sake, it seems like he and his daughter share the same maturity level. I mean, a 17-year-old who is about to enter university's education is more important than a 7-year-old who's gonna go watch Peppa Pig and drink a juice box after she finishes her a small bit of work. Your husband needs to chill. He's being unreasonable if he actually thinks a 7-year-old's education is of equal importance to that of a 17-year-old. In fact, it seems he's biased to his child if he can't see that plainly. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You didn't imply any biological genetic considerations at all. He did. You are right to prioritize a 17-year-old's assignment being turned in versus a very young child's whose assignment won't make or break them getting into university if it is delayed. Then he weaponizes his spin on the genetic issue by encouraging his family to harass you. He is not okay. None of what he is doing is okay. He's got the bias for genetics. He doesn't want his non-biological child to have access to your laptop in a state of emergency, because she isn't his blood relative. Not the a-hole. I am a 13-year-old girl, and I understand that right now, if needed, my brother needs access to things more than I do. He is working on his GCSEs, I am not. 17 is doing A-levels, they affect her life massively. Whereas 7 is either in year 2 or year 3, and I'm sorry, but it is easy to catch up in later years. Teachers also understand that it's tough for the kids to be working, and we'll make a special effort for them to catch up. I suggest digging out an old laptop and making her use that, or contact the school and they may be able to provide you with something. Wishing you the best. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.